So we're talking about 1202 South 2nd Street.
1202 South 2nd. My name's Dick Reed, R-E-E-D. My cell phone number is 641-919-8262. Anytime you want to give me a call, just feel free, and I'll remember the house. Tell me the address. I may not remember your name, but I'll remember the house, or some location of the house. We've looked the outside over already, and I have looked at this house a few times in the last few years. I see on the outside that they've put a new roof on. There were some soffit panels that needed to be repaired, and they had repaired those. It looks like the house has had a coat of paint. There's a number of things that they've just cleaned up on the house. There's storm windows all the way around the outside of the house. I will look at the windows as we go around on the interior. But I didn't see any real issues on the outside. This kit's got a newer air conditioner unit outside the air compressor, and it's just starting to need a little maintenance, whereas you'll trim some vegetation away from that. The drainage looks adequate around the outside. The sidewalk looked fine. So I'm giving the outside a good report. Now we're in the basement now, and there's still some knob and tube that needs to be replaced in the basement here, and I understand that that's in work, and that will get done. The pressure relief valve on the water heater, that's a valve, so if the pressure gets too high, it will relieve the pressure off the water heater. Every now and again they leak, and this particular one's leaking, so it needs to be replaced. That's probably a plumber's service call plus a $15 or $20 part. So it's probably under a $100 bill to replace that. This is an older house with older basement walls. It's got some iron repairs in the walls, which I like the looks of. It helps these older foundations stay stable. But I see one place that I would like to have one more installed, and they run approximately between $250 and $350 to have installed, and I'd recommend one right here. Probably the reason they have not done it is because there is a foundation structure on the outside of this that keeps the earth pressure from being as great here. But still, just looking at this crack, to me it would be a good thing to have here. So one more wall repair in the basement, and as far as the wetness of this basement, it appears to be dry now, but we've had one long dry spell here. We haven't had rain for 2 months. I see a lot of stuff stored in the basement, but so that's when you have to go to the disclosure and read the disclosure, and I understand that there's a couple of places that they have disclosed that there is some moisture comes in.
Yeah, on the north side.
Even if somebody tells me, maybe realtors doesn't like to hear this, but I always say it, on older basements, if you're going to store things in the basement, assume that it could get wet. There's very few dry basements of older houses in Fairfield. Although I see a lot of stuff around, doesn't show me that it gets very wet, but just some comments on it, okay?
Perfect.
That's about it. I'm ready to take and go upstairs and look the upstairs over, okay?
Awesome.
Okay, I just got done looking at the first and second floor, and really the issues are pretty small. I found maybe a door or two that would latch. I've looked at all the windows. Some of them are replacement windows. They are like right behind me. Those are more energy efficient than the other windows. The other windows seem to open and close, which are good. If a person wanted to save some money down the road, you could replace some other windows with replacement windows. You would save on energy. And plus they'd be easier to open and close and clean. But as a whole, the windows are in decent shape for this age of home, so they are. Looks like somebody's done a very nice job of painting. I see very few cracks. I see a few cracks that's been repaired, but they've repaired them and painted, so we have a good coat of paint. The floors look good. The plumbing, I didn't find any fittings that were bad. I didn't find any plumbing issues. I do see that this house is, like we talked earlier, this house is probably built in 1910 or in the teens or somewhere in there. And it's been rewired since then, since the knob and tube, but this has never been completely rewired. So the majority of the outlets in this house are what we call non-grounded outlets. They may have 3-prong outlets, but that doesn't mean they're grounded. That is, we call that grandfathered in. That is permissible. It doesn't mean it's not safe. It's just not to today's standards where you would build, how you would build if you were going to build a new house today. I've already talked about any wiring issues that I'm going to talk about, basically, that they're going to replace some knob and tube in the basement. So I'm not alarmed by not seeing ground fault outlets. None of the bathrooms have ground fault outlets or grounded outlets. Now, there's a couple of grounded outlets throughout the house that's been added since the last few years, and they've grounded those outlets. There's a couple of those. So my recommendation is, if you're going to have an entertainment center or computer center, take and either have a surge protector or some type of device, or ground that outlet, one of the two. Okay? Now this may seem like a simple statement, but this house has got from yesterday to today without having grounded outlets, and it's been safe all that time. So I don't know, that's just one way of putting it in perspective. The house is not built to today's standards as far as codes, okay? And I'm not inspecting it that way, all right? I see very few issues. Yes, there's a door at this bedroom, and he told me the door's in the closet, or I'm sorry, the door's in the garage, and I don't see a reason why it cannot be hung. I've been in this attic before, and it has sufficient amount of insulation in the attic. Okay. The attic access is in that walk-in closet over there. Is where the attic access is. At this point, I'm really ready to answer any questions that you could have, that you could come up with, or you don't have. Like I said, right now, if you can't think, if you wake up in the middle of the night and have a question for me, feel free to call. I appreciate that you wait until about 7:30 in the morning instead of 2 o'clock in the morning. But with that said, I don't really find very many things or that I feel like are broken. Okay?
Awesome.
Now, everybody likes to put a little disclaimer on things, you know. The things I cannot see, like the sewer line going underneath the ground. You know, we saw that there was a Roto-Rooter tag that was in 2005 that they cleaned out some roots. That's pretty normal. I can't say tomorrow that that won't happen. I don't think anybody can tell you that. It does have a copper water line coming in from the street, which is a good thing. A house this age would have lead water lines coming in, and that's been upgraded to copper. And that's a good thing. I showed you where the water valve is.
I should tighten the plug in the bathroom downstairs somehow. How do I do that?
Well, you can ask for that to be done.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. In the downstairs hall bathroom, there's a wall outlet. When I put my tester in it, when I pull out the plug outlet tray to come out the wall with it. And yeah, that he's going to have an electrician here. My guess he'd probably be glad to do that. But whatever, I don't get into who's going to fix it. I just tell you what needs to be fixed. Okay? I leave that between you and the realtor and the buyer and the seller.
Perfect.
With that said, again, my name's Vic Reed, 641-919-8262.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.